Just have some fun. All right? This one was written by Johnny Guitar Watson. Steve Miller made a hit out of it. Oh yeah. And I want to dedicate this to the Pine Street Saloon. Because the first year, how many know that Jesse James used to come into this place in the old days? His brother Frank. With the Frank James and Jesse James and the kid and all the rest. There used to be some bad cats without rules. Those cats could have dug me in my gangster ways. They would have hung the guns down and dug it to their graves. Cause I'm a gangster. A gangster of love. You know I'm a gangster. A gangster of love. And when I walk into a bar, girls say there is a bar that I'm a gangster. A gangster of love. When I jumped in my White Horse Cadillac, I rode across the borderline. I rode 55 girls, I kissed them all at the same time. I took 25 or 30, put them all on the freight. There was $1 million reward for me in each and every state. The sheriff said, "Is your name Kenny Lee Lewis?" in a very deep voice. And I said, "Yes, sir, brother sheriff, and that's your wife from the back of my horse. I'm a gangster, a gangster of love. You know I'm a gangster, oh, gangster of love." And when I walk into a bar, girls sing here in the bar, I'm a gangster. Oh yeah, look at it. I'm a oh yeah, look out baby, I'm coming to get you, Thank you. Alright, now here's the song. This guy's got trouble, he needs a little help. He's got a little problem, a little addiction problem. So he needs a doctor to help him with his addiction problems. It's called Save Me From Myself. Don't step on my heart with those high heel shoes. Don't step on my heart without high heel shoes. You've already made a mess with that snapping tight red dress, but before I do, don't step right on my arm. I'm going to take a rain check on this pretty little train wreck. I'm going to have to take a rain check on this pretty little train check. And I'm afraid I'll have to pass, but there's just one thing I ask. Can you kindly help me save me from myself? Save me from myself. Is there a doctor who can save me from myself? Hold me back, I need some help with a girl that ain't so fine. I'm afraid I'll lose my mind. So before I do, please save me from myself. Gonna take a 12-step so I can feel how to stop this sweat. We're gonna have to take a 12-step. I can beat this this, but I bet if you walk into this room, so deep with sweet perfume, I would kindly ask thee save me from myself. Save me from myself. Is there a doctor who can save me from myself? Hold me back, I need some help. With a girl looking so fine, I'm afraid I'll lose my mind. But before I do, please save me from myself. Gonna take a 12-step so I can figure out how to stop this sweat. Yeah, gonna have to take a 12-step. I can beat this butt all day. If you walk into this room smelling sweet with sweet perfume, I would kindly ask you to save me from myself. Save me from myself. Is there a doctor who can save me from myself? Hold me back, I need some help. With a girl looking so fine, I'm afraid I'll lose my mind. But before I do, please save me from myself. I would kindly ask you to save me from myself. That's kind of a dumb country song. I don't write a lot of country lyrics, but I have some, so that's why I took this opportunity. Okay, well this one is also very perfect for this bar right here. This is a guy that's, he's crying in his beer, man. It's one of these songs. So this is called Cowboy Cabaret. And if you don't know it, you're in one right now. It goes like this. Red beers, neon lights, cowboys have fun on Saturday night. Music is good and the women are fine. There's nothing going on here except you on my mind. I'm a million miles away from this cowboy cabaret, drifting on a melody.
I'm Kenny Lee Lewis, and I live in San Luis Obispo, and been up here for about 7 years now. I escaped from LA when there was really not much promise for me there anymore in studio work and production. It just was kind of drizzling away. The only people that were working were people that did animated series and, you know, soap opera, underscoring music, and it just kind of died because I was there in the heyday of the 70s and the 80s with studio work. So I decided to bring my family, get away from the LAUSD school district, and bring my kids up here to a little more wholesome environment, better weather, and you know, less crime, and just a better, you know, better thing for my family up here. So we moved up here in 2006, July 4th, as a matter of fact. Next month will be 7 years. So here now, and as I started hanging out here and, you know, meeting some people, a very good friend of mine, Danny Pelfrey, a great saxophone player, played with Tower Power and Carole King and Diana Ross. He moved up here prior to me with a vacation home, and then eventually made it his permanent home. So we became partners immediately and started a band. And my wife, Diane Steinberg Lewis, great keyboard player, singer, songwriter, she's also in our group. So we just got everyone together and started meeting local musicians and put a band together called Barflies. And we've been working up in Paso here for quite a while. Most of the wineries. We played a place called D'Ambino's a lot. It's very nice. Built by musicians for musicians. They own a winery up here. So we've just been having a great time. In fact, I've been probably producing and recording and doing more up here than I was doing in LA. We just did the Perry Ford commercial with our band. You know, that's the one you hear. You know, Perry's got it. Perry's got. That's our band. You know, we're all playing.
This is kind of funny, cause karma is a bitch. It's time the tables turning, the hands have now been switched. I read the morning paper, and even the front headlines, the bank was repossessing on that Repo man this time. Oh yeah, he was again.
Really getting involved in the community here, really loving it. And tonight we're doing the Pine Street Saloon North County line, I believe is what we're calling it. And it's just to sort of start showcasing singer-songwriters and talent in the area here, in the greater Central California coast, and give everybody a shot, you know, to, like, you know, sing, have their voice, and the audiences are always very, very you know, appreciative up here on the Central Coast. It's art for art's sake up here. Folks in LA, art for art's sake. Sorry you guys don't have that down there, you just pay to play. Here it's art for art's sake. So we're just having a great time up here, and I'm having a wonderful time. Just getting ready to go out on tour with Steve Miller. Just got through doing a spring tour, a bunch of Weekend Warrior gigs. We played here locally, Avila Bay. That was fun, even though it was like a little Woodstock. It was kind of hard to get in and out of it.
Steve Miller goes like this. We're going to sing along on this one. We dedicate this to the Bank of America. This is the story about the Joe and Paso. Two young lovers with nothing better to do. Sit around the house, get high and watch the tune. Here's what happened when they decided to cut loose. Headed down to Paso. Headed back, they got a great big hassle. Baby Joe shot a man while I'm in his castle. Paso took the money and run, help us out. Yeah, go on, take the money and run. Detective down in Texas. You know he knows just exactly what the facts is. He ain't gonna let those two escape justice. Makes a living on people's taxes. Bobby Sue, she's looked away. Billy Joe caught out to the very next day. They got the money, they got away. They head down south from west to the running today, singing, go on, take the money and run. Yeah, yeah. Go on, take the money and run. Go on, take the money and run. Ooh, Lord. Go on, take the money and run. Ooh, Lord.
And I learned black spirituals out of a book at first. I didn't even know what they were, because, you know, my dad played swing music, and he did have a little bit of Jimmy Lunsford. I think he had some Big Joe Turner, but most of his stuff was, you know, Count Basie, you know, Woody Herman, that kind of stuff. And so there was swing in the house, which was nice, but we were still pretty much a white suburbs family. My brother and sister played folk music. They really liked all that stuff, and I sort of like got into that. I was doing Peter, Paul, and Mary songs, my first songs. But when I really started getting influences when the English invasion happened, and they were bringing all the blues that America had done, you know, a decade and a half earlier, and they were bringing it back to us. John Mayall and people like Georgie Fame. They were the older guys over there that were teaching the Beatles, teaching the Yardbirds, teaching the Rolling Stones to do those blues songs that were on those old recordings and bringing them back to the United States. The Yardbirds, you know, the Kinks, and then eventually Cream, Hendrix, Zeppelin, you know, all these groups were the ones that really influenced me. So guitar players like Jeff Beck and of course Clapton and Jimmy Page, they were all my heroes. And then for Americans, I really loved Jimi Hendrix, obviously, and I really loved, believe it or not, Steve Miller, who is my boss. And I had him on the list not only because he was a good guitar player, because he was a great singer, played harmonica, and he looked a little bit like me. I mean, we were big guys, you know, with cheeky faces, and we didn't look like those little emaciated English guys smoking cigarettes and everything. You know, we were just American guys that liked to eat steak and, you know, go to football games, you know. So I related to him, and that's the reason why when I went there to see him at the Sacramento Memorial Auditorium when I was 13, and I ran away from home that night, I got eye contact with him. I said, you, I'm going to work with you one day. And of course he didn't know that I was putting the voodoo on him, but eventually he ended up coming to me for songs after I was already an established studio player, and I sort of came in as a peer when I met him, and that was kind of fun because then I didn't, you know, I wasn't a fan at that point. I was helping him produce the Abracadabra.
That's fine. So he was talking about Abracadabra a minute ago. This is when I met Steve Miller in 1981. I helped him co-produce and co-write the album. And this is a song called "Never Say No." It's kind of a country rock. It's about some farmer boy who meets a girl from the city. Searching for the pearl who can bring me up and ease me down. Flying down a dusty road, little foreign wheels putting on a show. My thoughts are hazy about this girl, might make me crazy. I bet she will. Never say no. Never let me hear you say you gotta go. Never say no. You know, I like jazz too, so I like, you know, Wes Montgomery, loved him a lot. Loved Les Paul, who was Steve's godfather, which is a very interesting story, which Ben knows a lot about, and he'll be telling that story soon. And so Terry Kath, the guitar player for Chicago, I thought he was great. Terry Haggerty, the guitar player for Sons of Chaplin, you know, the band that Bill Chaplin started. He was a great guitar player. Bruce Conti, I loved him with Tower of Power. A lot of cats like that is who I really were listening to. A little bit of, you know, Herb Ellis, Tal Farlow, George Barnes, you know, Jimmy Smith, you know, people like that. And of course, Grant Green. So those were the early influences on me. So it was jazz, blues, and then later on, once I got the English invasion going, that's when I started listening to all the King guys, you know, B.B., Albert, you know, Freddie. I mean, I finally got the education backwards, by the way, of the English invasion. And that brings me to the end of that little story of who influences me.
All right, good. And then you're producing some?
Yes, I've actually been producing quite a bit around here. In fact, the gentleman that you were just hearing downstairs, Willie Nilly, came to me and never had performed before, just had a bunch of songs he'd written, and his kids and his wife just said, you know, we really ought to record those. So he saw my ad for my studio, came by. He couldn't overdub, he couldn't replicate, so what I did is I just put mics all over him and I recorded him as one take, and then I took that and I put it against a grid on Pro Tools, and then I just produced these arrangements around his performance. And it ended up being a project called Whodathunk, HUDDATHUNK.com. And unlike the other guy, it's just the two of us. It's kind of like Steely Dan, just two guys, and we play all the instruments and stuff. But turned out really good. Produced another guy named Jay Horn. He was kind of like a New Age Christian minister in town. Very nice recording. Produced a hard rock band in my garage named Derailed, and they've now become a new band called The Bold. Probably will be doing them soon. Right now, just before I came here, I was producing a group called Days Alone. Very interesting, different type of a group, kind of a little bit of Police meets Rage Against the Machine, but some Paul Simon, Graceland thrown in there. Very, very interesting bunch up here. So I'm producing quite a bit. I produced a couple females up here, a girl named Stephanie Simon. So I'm producing more and doing more music for art's sake up here in the Central Coast than I was doing in LA, where I lived for almost 35 years.
Thanks to all the performers and the high street singing. Hopefully we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you. You sound violent, I don't know if I want to deal with it. Well, some people